guys, we don't have to do this every time. You know what's going on. You know I'm here. You hear my voice. You see my face. I'm right here. You know who's with me. He's right over. Toby, where's your face on the layout?
I'm to the right of you.
So like over here?
Yeah.
It's Toby. He's right there. You can see his face. You can hear his voice. You know he's there. You read the title. You know MBoss is here. The potentially the greatest Pokemon player we've ever seen. The GOAT, the man himself, Mr. Mamoswine, he's here. We're vibing. We're going to ask him a whole bunch of questions. Maybe it's going to get fucked up. I don't know, dude. We're mostly unscripted, and that's a promise. What I can tell you is that we're going to have a great time. So before I go on, before anyone says anything, I'm going to give you a second to go down there and just like the video. It's gonna be a good time. I already gave you my word. You can trust me. I promise. So just head on down there, hit the button. We'll give you a second.
You are an expert at shamelessly plugging our channel. I just want to say
just that. Right off the bat, yeah.
All right, welcome back to the video. MBoss, welcome to the channel. It's the Draft Degenerates channel. How's it going, dude? What's going on?
Going pretty good. I'm chilling. Just got done with finals and all that, so time to throw myself at Draft League.
Hell yeah.
Oh boy, just in time.
Yeah. Good luck, Raz.
I'm gonna die. Anyway, we are here once again for season 4 interviews. Obviously, MBoss is here. It's UDL. It's been UDL every time. It should not be a surprise. And yeah, we're here. We're hanging out. Last time we were interviewing Depiz, yep. And you guys have. It's probably been several days for you, but for us, it's been about 5 minutes. So if you're like, why is Raz wearing the same shirt? It's the same day, dude. Get over it. Anyway, that's all the intro that I'm gonna do. We're here for the interview.
This is why I love making you do the intro.
I just be yelling about it. I have no plan. I just talk, and eventually we'll get to where we need to go.
That's the best way to approach anything, I think. Yeah, just keep talking, and eventually it works.
At some point,
you'll work your way to the destination eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, MBoss, we have a few questions we want to ask you, other than some general ones, mostly unscripted. So feel free to say whatever your heart desires. But we've got a few questions that your burning fans, your adoring public, i.e. Raz and I, want to know about you and your upcoming UDL season. The first thing that I want to ask you about is if you could tell us a little bit about your draft team for the UDL, your draft process, like what you were wanting to go for originally, what changed, if you're happy with it now, etc., etc.
Yeah, so originally, right, I had first pick, which is cool. I don't get first pick very often, so I was pretty happy about that. And like looking at the tier list, in the past, I played I think one non-max league, and I just kept getting absolutely wrecked by like Disquake, by just like all that sort of thing, just getting spammed with like the spread move type thing. So I knew I wanted to go with that. I wanted to draft like Disquake something. So first pick, I see Kilowattrel, and I'm like, okay, Tailwind, Discharge, like that's my guy. So, grabbed Kilowattrel, and I knew there was a bunch of strong ground types, ended up with Donphan. And from there, it kind of just branched out. I took Earthworm with Donphan on the wheel, just like get the Earthworm's tier 3, like good value steel type. The plan of the draft was pretty much just I want to be able to click Earthquake and Discharge next to everything. And then everything that can't get Earthquake or Discharge click next to it is just going to be like good. I just want to be able to use it if I need to. So I think looking at my team, if I remember correctly, Donphan can Earthquake next to like 5 Mons without them taking damage, and then Kilowattrel can Discharge next to like 2. And then there's, just like some good stuff in there. The team's kind of like pretty hyper offense, which is not a style I build super often, but like Cinderace is in there because, Fastmon, Gober, Kickfire. And then, just some good like value picks, I think. Samurott and MBoss11. I never build a team without Intimidate, so MBoss11 kind of comes in there. And then, Samurot's just kind of decent mon. Glaceon's decent mon. I think that's sort of the gist of it.
That's fair. What is your opinion on Samurot? Do you think it's underrated or?
This is a question. DMs are toxic, by the way, so tread carefully.
So I really like Samurot. I think it's a mon that like it's definitely not high tier. Like I'll say that, but it's for what it is. It's super versatile. It gets a ton of good moves. Its attacking stats are like 100 and 108, so it can be special or physical or special. It's got decent bulk, decent speed tier. It's just kind of like a good all around mon. Which is kind of why I picked it up. I figured there's not a whole lot of great water types in the draft, so I was like, I just want something that can glue almost. It's a glue mon is kind of how I see it.
Absolutely.
I just want to say you mentioned Disquake and Kilowattrel and Donphan. I don't know what it is. I feel like Intimidate is crazy this gen, like literally all over the place. You have 3 new Tauros forms. You have Mabostiff, Stantler's back, and then like those are just and Gyarados, and those are just the ones.
Yeah.
And the Crocodile. I keep thinking of more. I feel like way more than last gen. I see Intimidate literally everywhere, and so when I go into a Disquake mode, it's like, okay, I want to hit the Earthquake mon. I want to reduce that damage via Intimidate and kill. I think part of why Kilowattrel is so good is because, one, obviously it lends itself to that mode. It's a discharge user that's off the ground. It can use Tailwind to increase the speed of its partner, which is really useful for a lot of ground types. But also, you can't do that. If you want to Intimidate, you're boosting that thing to the moon. And I know this is an interview and this is not a question, but like, I think Kilowattrel is a top 3 Tailwind mon just in draft across the board this generation, not even in low tier. I think it's crazy, and I think it's really fucked up that it's on this team.
Yeah, no, I'm super happy with it on this team. I think especially, competitive is like amazing for this team. I mean, like looking at like Donphan and Cinderace, like those 2 mons alone make competitive just so worth it. Because like Cinderace doesn't have like a crazy attack stat, so like it really doesn't want to get intimidated. But you intimidate that thing and Kilowattrel's next to it, like you die. Like that's just how it works.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I didn't get to mention it when we were talking to Hunter earlier, and I had to get it out there. It's so good.
We're the draft degenerates. We go on tangents all the time. Why didn't you tangent to Hunter?
Because he talked for a while, and by the time he was done, the moment was gone.
Okay, fair enough. You no longer had your boner for Kilowattrel. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I put it away.
Okay, fair enough. Then let's say... I mean, we basically went over the next question about what your team can do and what you think it's going to excel at, so we'll move right along. So moving on, I guess piggybacking on talking about your team. Obviously, there is no question that the Draft Degenerates power rankings are objectively correct. There is nothing wrong with them. Nobody would ever question them, ever. But we figure just for public relations purposes, we should put it in here that you got ranked number 8 in our power rankings.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and I would like to know: do you agree with your ranking? And what do you think? Like, just elaborate on that. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think there's anything you could do to improve the team, etc.?
Yeah. So I disagree. I mean, I think I have to, just like for my own sake. Like I can't just be like, yeah, I'm 8th. Like, no, I think I really like this team. And I think there's a few things that like it does have some problems that were pointed out, but I think there's a little bit that was like not necessarily overlooked, but sort of like undervalued. A main thing that was brought up was like a lot of my speed tiers are sort of mid-tier speed tiers, which is like fair. But I think it is worth pointing out there is Tailwind, and that fixes a lot of problems, which is sort of what I was like thinking going into this. And then the mons, when I'm building a team, I usually look at it. My bulky mons, I usually don't care too much about their speed tier. So stuff that I'm drafting, I drafted, just looking at it, like Orthworm, Samurott, Glaceon, Misdreavus, I think are all in that like 20-ish speed tier point range. But those aren't necessarily mons I drafted to be fast. They're more meant to, like, I tend to build bulky is just sort of how like my playstyle works. Yeah. So I like to make sure I have some high speed tiers, and then I have stuff that's flexible. So those things work in Tailwind, and if I don't need them in Tailwind, I just say this thing has 250 HP and it has a bunch of defense, and have fun killing it. So I think that that was something that I think the speed tier issue is less relevant, especially because I do have Cinderace and Kilowattrel, they go fast. I have some stuff that's slower. I generally think Trick Room isn't quite as good in non-Dynamax, just because you can't just max and nuke everything. Protect is just so much better to just slow down those turns, and I have Intimidate. And I think the other thing was I think somebody pointed out, I forget which one of you, that you said some of my mons felt like they didn't really fit. I think it was like Glaceon, Samurott, that type of thing. And then my low tiers. And my week 1 match, my kill leaders were Samurott with 4 kills and Glaceon with 3. So I think just right off the bat, just being able to kind of show that those lower tier pieces do have value. They're maybe not the most conventional picks for a team like this, but I think I'm able to use them effectively. And then I still believe in Zangoose. I mean, 90 speed, and if anyone would like to eat a Toxic Orb Facade, please let me know, because
no, I'm okay.
And then Skiploom is admittedly not the greatest pick of all time, but that was end of the draft, and tier 4 Rage Powder, Tailwind, Utility Mon is not the worst thing that can exist.
Hold on.
Sure. No one. Fair enough.
Hold on.
Holding.
I'm browsing the web. I don't actually hold on.
Okay. I will say, of course, we're objectively correct, but I'm gonna say it. I think we got it wrong.
I think we
personally.
When you a couple minutes ago, when you said out loud, I was looking at the team. It was sitting in front of me. You said we ranked you 8th, and I went, hold on. I said that? About this team?
You were the front runner of that discussion.
I think, which is kind of fucked up. Listen, I am often wrong.
Okay.
However, it's not super often because I try to figure out what I'm talking about before I say it. And so usually the goal is to maybe know what you're talking about before you start to talk. And so I was like, there are some things that I probably won't agree with soon, but I'm probably ballpark correct. And now I'm sitting here and nothing has changed. No one has made any points that I wasn't already aware of. There's been no debate regarding it. I just looked at it a different day and I'm like, hey man, what was I talking about? Like you said, I do think there are some things where I'm like, and obviously it's we weren't rating MBoss, we were rating the team. So it's I think I said in the video, I was like, I know people are gonna get fucked up by this team because MBoss has it, but that's not the point. But I was looking at Samurott in a vacuum. I like it. I think it's good. What was the point of what I was saying? And then I think I mentioned that Glaceon without Hail isn't the most consistent because it tends to rely on Blizzard. It has 130 special attack.
Sure does. Yep.
So
the point is, I don't know what I'm the only person who's allowed to say I was wrong. So
I was wrong.
I was wrong, and fuck you. So.
Formally, MBoss, I'd like to apologize. We were incorrect.
Thank you.
We were incorrect. If I had to look at it now, I probably would have put it 5th or 6th instead of 8th.
I would have
At
read higher
least.
Flamingo's team, which I still think I was right about.
I don't think you're right, but
I know you don't.
but yeah, I would have at least put it like 5th or 6th. I definitely look at it now and think I don't know how the hell we let it get to 8th, because I think you're absolutely right. I think this is way better than 8th. So from the draft degenerates to you, we were wrong.
I'll send
Thank you.
This,
a whole dollar? Oh my god, okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Hell yeah. Your apology dollar will be in the mail.
Yeah.
Nice.
However, I will say, we admitted we were wrong, which is true. So we're still objectively correct because we admitted we were wrong, because we were right in saying we were wrong. So we still have 100% track record.
So you think this was a gotcha moment? You don't know shit.
Get fucked.
Rip Bozo.
Got him. Perfect. Anyway. So with all of that in mind, a very good team. What? Yes, Rez?
Just before we start talking about anything else, you mentioned Skiploom, and I know, like, Rage Powder, but, like, is there any, like, I know it's a tier 4. I get it.
Sure.
If all your tier 4 does is click Rage Powder, I think that's perfectly valid. But I gotta know, is there, like, secret tech there? Or is it just Skiploom?
It's kind of just Skiploom, but if you like look through this thing's move pool, like just to read off some stuff, we've got Encore, Helping Hand, Light Screen, Reflect, Rage Powder, Strength Sap, Sleep Powder, Rain Dance, Sunny Day, Tailwind, Pollen Buff. Like, it's got a good support move pool. And like, if you throw an Eviolite on that thing, like, it's not the bulkiest thing. Like, it's never going to be bulky. It's like 55, 50, 65, but like it's going to live some things, and that's all you need it to do. Right. So like, if it can live some things and pull out some good support moves, like, that in my eyes, that's a worthy spot for a tier 4, especially because my team didn't have, I think Miss Drevis is my only other mon that's like mostly support. So like, I don't mind using a tier 4 slot on something that I'm like, this has a bunch of support moves that I can use. Like, it's gonna get value. I'll bring it a few weeks, and I think that's what you need out of a tier 4.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I respect it.
I hella respect it.
I didn't know it got Rage Powder, by the way, when we were talking about it. I know.
Didn't know it got Rage Powder?
Yeah. If it didn't have Rage Powder, I wouldn't have taken it.
I was hearing of it.
Okay, fair enough. I thought we knew it had Rage Powder. Okay, so what I'm hearing is we were just wrong.
Yeah.
We were just wrong.
Well,
okay.
I was wrong.
Okay. Fair enough.
I talk a lot, and then I finish talking, and I go, okay, we're done. And then no one else gets to say anything. So
fair enough.
Mostly is what happened.
All right. Got it.
Anyway,
we're gonna be malding about being wrong the whole time.
It will come up at least 2 more times.
So MBoss, throughout this season, the 8-week season, or at least for the main season, barring playoffs for right now, who are you most excited that you're facing for this season? Who are you most excited for? Who are you most dreading? And elaborate on that, why you're most excited or dreading or anything like that.
Yeah, let me pull up my my schedule real quick, because I do not have that memorized. Okay, so the match I'm looking the most forward to is I'm looking forward to playing Krabby, Corpus Christi Kinglers, because we live like 10 minutes apart. So I think the plan currently is to play IRL.
That's awesome.
And I think Krabby has his stream set up, so I think we're brewing something there. We might stream an IRL match, so I'm hyped for that.
That's gonna be awesome.
You heard it here, by the way.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to figure out. Admittedly, I haven't looked at the other teams as much as I probably should have. So let me take a quick look around. I think I am looking forward to play Flamingo as well, just because I want to see Slacking go crazy.
Absolutely.
It might not.
It might though,
And
that's the important part.
No,
That's
it probably
the important
will.
part.
No, it probably will. And
You know, sometimes you think something probably will do something, and then it doesn't.
And the thing I hate most about this is that Raz has now beaten the slacking team. So now he's just never going to admit that it's good.
Oh, you're surprised that I was objectively correct?
Yes, I am, Mr. I didn't know Skip Bloom had rage powder.
Anyway, go on.
Moving on. Yeah. I think the match I'm probably the least looking forward to is Yeet's team looks scary, I think. I'm still like looking through my schedule and just making sure I know what I'm playing against. Yeah, that's probably the match I'm the most scared of. Either that or Flamingo, just because I know Flamingo is gonna bring some dumb shit that I was not ready for. I feel like he always does that when we play. But besides that, I think like in general, I'm never really like super scared of any like in particular match, just because I think if you go into a match being like this is a bad match, I just like that's just not a helpful mindset to have, I don't think.
Sure.
Right.
Like I think I'd rather just go in being like, well, I prepped and they prepped and I guess we see who wins. So I think the match I'm the most scared of is probably Flamingo or Yeet's team, just because they look like pretty solid teams in general. But yeah, I don't think there's anything I'm like super scared of. Like I'm gonna be running away in terror when I see that week come up.
For sure. That's a very healthy mindset to have, by the way, and that's one I probably should adopt. But yeah, probably not. But
it's fine.
So with the main season in mind, then moving on to playoffs, do you think like a playoffs contention is in the cards for you this UDL season? Do you think it's possible? And what do you think you're gonna have to do? What's it gonna take to get there?
Also, I want to hear percentage odds. So.
Oh yeah, exact
odds,
percentage.
Okay. down to the exact percentage.
Yep.
Okay.
Decimal.
So I think I personally always just like, even if it's completely based on nothing, I just always believe that I can make playoffs.
Sure.
I don't like it. I could draft the worst team you've ever seen and I'll still be like, yeah, I'm making playoffs. And that might be a terrible belief to have, but like I think I'm trying to remember how many leagues I've played. I've missed playoffs like twice when I've been playing. And both of those times, last one was GLDL, where I started with 2 losses and missed on bubble, which was differential.
Yeah.
And one of them I just didn't pull it out. So I'm always like, I think I can make playoffs, and that, you know, I like my team, and that's the other thing is I think my team is good. I understand how the team works. I understand what it's doing. And that's a lot different from last season. GLDL sort of served as like learning how to play the format, because I had played 0 games of Scarlet and Violet doubles before the first game of GLDL last season. So like now that I understand how the format works, how to Terra well, and like all of that sort of nuance, I feel pretty good about it. Obviously I need to play well. That's always just, you know, what it is. And then put time into prep, which I occasionally forget to do. But I think if I do those things, I feel pretty solid about my odds. I mean, I'll throw it at about 80%, just because I think, like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm 100% in, but like I feel solid about my chances.
Sure, absolutely. And I will say, I don't think that's a bad mindset to have. I think that's a really healthy mindset to have, almost. Like, I think that's just giving yourself self-confidence, and that's believing in yourself, and the mental aspect goes a long way. And I will say, I am not capping when I say that is probably the healthiest mindset I think I've seen a draft player have ever. There are a lot of coaches that are notoriously bad mindseted people who are not confident in themselves in any way, shape, or form. One of them is to the left of me right now, who has no confidence in himself and doesn't think that they can pull anything off, and that honestly hurts their performance. And I think your consistency and your championship history and stuff like that is an ode to the fact that you have that mindset. So I will say that. But
yeah, I think it's just about, you got to toe the line between not being like a cocky asshole, and also not just like sitting there and wallowing in like how about in your losses. Really,
Yeah.
you just got to kind of move on, go to the next game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Don't be a Raz, but don't be a Gumi. You know?
Total
What-
line, yeah, exactly.
What Raz?
Listen.
We gonna talk about you right now in MBoss's interview?
No, you're right. It's his interview. It's his interview, but also fuck you, Toby.
We'll talk about you when we get to your interview. Anyway.
Thousand Patreons. Anyway.
Okay. So, very good mindset to have, and I also think playoffs is in the cards for you, especially now looking that we were very wrong about your team. So, another thing I want to talk about is looking at, you obviously haven't looked at a bunch of the teams too much yet, but if you had to guess off the top of your head in each subdiv, red, blue, yellow, green, who do you think is like most likely to get first place in each div?
Yeah, okay. Let me. This might take a second as I click through the teams frantically. So for green, I love Toxic's team. Like, I know Toby. I know you're in green, but like, dude, Toxic's team is insane.
So
I agree.
So I would pick Toxic there. At risk of being too cocky, I'd love to pick myself for yellow. Otherwise, my bet is probably on Raz.
Okay.
finally.
Dude, Raz, your team is insane. Like,
Thank you. I agree. It's one of my favorite teams that I've drafted. I think it's really good.
yeah, it's super sick. It's really annoying to prep for. Which is,
If you had to prep for it though, hypothetically, what would like your plan be?
So hypothetically, I'm gonna bring weakness policy Skiploom and Ice Shard Jolteon. So yeah, I mean, prepare for that and that only.
Shit.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, I think out of red, I like Wakeman's team a lot, and then I also like Sasso's team. I played Sasso in like a exhibition match, so one of those two I think would probably be my pick.
Okay.
Then looking through blue real quick here.
Fucked up. That division is different.
Red div's pretty stacked, other than Icy Dude. I didn't say that.
Blue my pick would probably be Tiny Gambit King.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and this is these opinions are also objective ratings. However, I've also spent about 5 seconds looking at most of these teams, so
They are an objective.
they're still
5
objectively
seconds.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
At least one of them is objectively correct. At
Yeah.
least.
Therefore, all of them are, because how can you pick just one that is?
True.
Exactly.
No one has ever been right and wrong in two separate things.
It's literally
Facts.
true.
That's a fact. Yeah.
You can't be right and wrong at the same time. There's no in between. This world is black and white.
Yep.
Heads or
Yep,
tails.
exactly.
Nuance is a myth. So
Yes, Raz.
just like never mind.
What? What?
I was trying to think of how to phrase something, and then I realized that there isn't anyway.
Okay.
Sorry. This is like my second time doing this today. I'm very tired.
I love you.
I understand it.
Please don't wait for me to say anything.
Okay, I was like on the edge of my seat.
I think
I'm pondering.
Okay.
we should just play the like Jeopardy song until Raz thinks of something.
Oh my god, I want to edit that.
I would be so stressed out.
I might do it. Oh shit. I might just do it. Well,
Get a soundboard set up.
if I get it, I might have to set up a soundboard. Shit, dude. So, I mean, that's about all the questions I personally have for MBoss, unless you had any that I need to be on the edge of my seat for, Rez.
So I have to tell the audience something.
Okay.
It's very important. Guys, sometimes people will tell you that you can't do something. They'll be like, oh, person your name, you can't do this. And in those moments, it's important to know that the only things that you have to do are pay taxes and die. Other than that, you can do whatever you want literally all the time, and it doesn't matter, and no one can tell you otherwise. Anyway, with that said, so I'm looking at your team, and we've already talked about your team a little bit. I don't want to get like too deep into it again. But like we've talked about its strengths, but if you had to like pick it apart and be like, here are the things that I would do to take this team down, what do you think are like the biggest holes in your team?
So the first thing I would do is bring 6 months weak to Earthquake, and then I would cry and concede. Just, I mean, that's helpful information for anyone who may or may not be playing me next week. I haven't looked at the schedule, so I don't know who that is.
I don't either. Some sorry sack of shit, probably.
Maybe. Who knows?
Great insight, though. Very
super helpful.
Very
Yeah. If you're actually interested in like weaknesses, not that I'm gonna give anything that Raz can use, because this is information that you can probably figure out yourself.
Sure.
But like, I think the biggest thing that I'm like not happy about with it is there's a few mons that I kind of just ended up taking because it's like best thing available. Like Cinderace was kind of just a like, man, Cinderace is still there, and I have the points to get Cinderace. Like, let's go. Like, fuck it, we ball type thing. Which like I usually when I'm building teams, it's like very cohesive. I've got a plan like a few rounds in advance, and I'll have all 11 mons planned out by round like 5. And that like just didn't happen this time. I was sort of building more on the fly. It's also hyper offense more. I mean, obviously it's a little bit bulky, and just the way I play, it's going to end up being built bulkier. But I never play I just never build hyper offense. So like that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just sort of a different play style for me. But yeah, I think that's sort of that there.
Yeah. Well, that's it from me.
Okay. All right, then I think that's everything we have for the dashingly handsome, dashingly talented, extremely smart MBoss.
So true.
MBoss, where can people find you? Do you have any links you want to plug? Any channels you want to promote?
Well, I don't have a YouTube channel because I don't have a capture card. I have a Twitter. I don't actually remember what my @ is though. Give me like 2 seconds and I'll find it. So I'm gonna start a GoFundMe to get MBoss a capture card. It's gonna be called Get MBoss a Capture Card. I'm gonna link it in the description. Go give us money so that we can give him a capture card, because you gotta see this gameplay. It's fucked in a good way. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I would deserve a capture card if it was fucked in a bad way, because nobody wants to watch that. My Twitter is MBoss_11. It's my Discord tag, but just with an underscore in there. And yeah, that's it. I might have made a YouTube channel. Sorry, this is very disorganized, but
you're good.
I believe I have like one video on there.
Okay.
It's also MBoss11. I'm very consistent with the links.
Hell yeah.
I feel that one, dude.
We will link those down in the description so you can all find MBoss. And, well, I guess that is it. Raz, what do you have to say to our adoring fans before we sign off?
Guys, come here. Come here.
Oh.
I'm not going to say it again. Subscribe to the channel. I'm not kidding. Do it.
Yeah.
The button is right. You're already in the description. Checking out MBoss.
Obviously.
Hit the... It's so big. It's so red. Just click it. It's so easy. And it's only beneficial to you. And to us. but only beneficial around across the board. It's a win-win. You hit the button, you get great content. We get another subscriber. Big number is good. Everybody knows that. And then obviously this video is incredible, so you gotta leave a like. It's obligatory. Go and say, oh my god, MBoss is so smart, and we have to get him a capture card so he can start a YouTube channel. Leave that in the comments below, word for word, otherwise you're blocked. Yeah, I hope you guys had a good time watching. I had a good time recording. You will see more Raz MBoss content next week when he whoops my ass in this very league. Toby and I are gonna go record another fucking interview just for you. See how much work we do for you guys? Hit the buttons, click the things, type the stuff. What are you waiting for? I've been monologuing for like 5 minutes. You could have done all of that by now. I'm done talking. Get the fuck out of here.
Fair enough. You know what? If you're watching this video, you are a draft degenerate, and I hope we will see you in the next video. Goodbye.